Day, welcome to the morning show. Here's what's on the docket today. We got Brian Lund at BC Lund joining the show at 9. We got Mary, Mornings with Mary at 9:30. We'll talk about what Steve did yesterday, fed some ducks maybe. Maybe we'll talk about what I did some buying yesterday as well. Talk about what JC did yesterday. We got more charts. We got some interesting insider buys. We got some earnings I want to discuss. So a lot on the dock. The dock is full. Let's go. Good morning, chat. Let's get the show on the road here. Come on.
All right. What's going on, everybody?
Hey.
We are live.
How we doing?
Is this the morning show?
We're here.
Look at Strazza repping the orange and green. I like it.
I have so much Canes gear at this point.
Dude, good for you, man. It makes me happy seeing you in Canes gear. Give me just 1 second, guys.
Spencer, you excited for March Madness?
March Madness has begun. Yes, I'm extremely excited. I'm a little bit less so because my team will not be in it, but nonetheless, I'm pumped.
I caught your recess when I was out last week. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Who remembers the crypto dip of March 2024? What, the one-day dip yesterday? Yeah.
Oh, last night was exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I meant to bring this up yesterday. I had we were talking on Monday, I think, about crypto sentiment, anecdotal stuff, and I got a text from my father on Monday. What day was it? Tuesday? What day is? Monday afternoon. If you haven't already done it, consider selling your crypto.
Your dad?
Yeah, my dad. So I just replied, thumbs down emoji. He was right for one day. So anyway, that's where we're at.
I mean, yeah, my girlfriend asked me yesterday. She said, "When you sell your crypto," because I sold the Bitcoin, she said, "Who are you selling to?" And I said, "Somebody."
It's a great question.
It's a fantastic question. So we got into like a markets 101 thing. And I'm like, yeah, for every seller, ideally there's a buyer. And if there's not an immediate buyer, like the broker stands in the middle or some sort of market maker or dealer. And she's like, that's really interesting. But why would somebody want to buy if you want to sell? Like when you guys all want to sell at the same time? And it's just cycles, right? It's like you said, people are starting to talk about it. Anybody who comes to my house, they know what I do, is asking me about crypto now because we're back at all-time highs. There's going to be a lot more people probably wanting to buy it who weren't even thinking about it.
Are you getting a lot of people, Strazza, asking about you? Really?
Listen again. I don't think it's great information like we talk about. People know what I do, so they tend to kind of ask questions like that. But my IT guy was texting me last week or the week before when Solana was going crazy, and I didn't get back to him for like 24 hours. And he showed up at my house asking about whether or not he should sell his Solana. He was doing work like down the street in the neighborhood.
You know what's interesting is that, like, talking to normies, I haven't had too many conversations about the Bitcoin ETF, but it's almost the conversations that I have had, granted it's only been 2 or 3, they think it's like something new. They're like, well, if Bitcoin did all of this, then the ETF is going to do the same. And I have to explain, like, it's the same thing, right? It's just a different way to buy it, but you're buying the same thing, essentially. Like, that was, like, hard for them to understand. But these are, like, hardcore normies. Like, they don't,
Don't even try to tell them about the micro strategy.
I didn't even go there.
By the way, kudos to them and Michael Saylor, because despite BlackRock and everybody entering the space and launching these spot bidder ETFs, MicroStrategy is still probably the best vehicle.
And raising some money today.
Well, so that's what they do. Is what they've been doing. What,
600 million? I know.
Yeah, 600 million in convertibles. They take that money, they pay 5% interest or whatever they're paying on it, and then they go buy Bitcoin and hope to make 100%.
It's a great business model. It really is.
Beautiful. The first time they did it, it was like, I don't know, but they've been doing this for years.
It's the business. It's
pretty
what they
hilarious. Can we? I got something on the topic. Can we run that bumper and go over the markets quick? Because I got something on the ETF sitch.
Yeah, all right.
All right, so let's do a quick little rundown. Dow futures up 140 points, getting back a little bit of what they gave up yesterday. S&P futures up 0.5%, about 26 handles. NASDAQ futures up about 75 basis points, 140 points on NASDAQ futures. Bond futures are flat. Silver is flat. Gold is flat. Copper up 50 bips. Oil up over 1% on the day as the dollar continues to come off. Volatility down to 14 on the VIX, and U.S. 10-year yield hanging in there right around 4.15, which is a big one. New all-time highs yesterday on an intraday basis there for the old Bitcoin. Gave some of that up intraday. Now we're back. Kind of just this is what absorbing overhead supply looks like, folks. In case you were wondering, Bitcoin up another 4% on the day, 66,000. On BTC. Ethereum up 8% on the day, actually exceeded yesterday's highs, which is certainly impressive, I think. And then you got the Solana, about 128 on the day, still kind of absorbing that supply. Total crypto market cap, Spencer, 2.42 trillion in crypto market cap. And I want to talk about this sort of ETF situation because I know you guys know because we've talked about it, but most people don't know that I used to be a gold bug, Strazza.
I know.
You know. What do you think about that? You're ashamed of me?
I don't know how many times I got to tell you guys I'm not interested. I'm still not interested in talking about gold.
No, I don't think JC is talking about gold right now. I think he's using it to preface
I'm not
his story.
talking about gold. I'm telling you that I used to be a gold bug.
He's using it to preface it. He's prefacing a larger point.
Yeah, I'm prefacing a larger point. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah. I'm saying gold.
You said it.
I know where this is going.
Do you know what gold bugs stands for? Fun fact. Do you know? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Do you know what bug stands for in gold bugs? Come on. Anybody? The true gold bugs know. Come on, guys. Do you know what it is? Ready? Basket of unhedged gold stocks.
Huh? Really?
Yep. Basket of unhedged gold stocks. That's
because it was an index before it was something that we called market participants.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah. Like gold bugs is like we refer to them as a people. Like, oh, I'm a gold bug, because I was. But in 1996, when they launched this index, that's what it stands for. Basket of unhedged gold stocks.
Was this one of those Philadelphia Exchange indexes?
No, New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in New York. How about that?
I didn't know it was an acronym all these years.
Was this the fun fact?
That was my fun fact. Yeah.
Fun fact?
What do you think? That was a pretty good fun fact?
Yeah, it's okay. I'm okay with it.
I think that was for the fun fact of the day. I thought that was a pretty good one. I thought that was pretty good. Something we don't talk about. What part of the cycle are we in when we are, when the fun fact of the day is what a gold bugs index is. So let's take it back. Let's take it way back into time. The 2004, throw up slide 2, November of 2004, a day that will live in infamy, fellas. I remember it well. You guys were in diapers. They launched.
Look at this.
They launched the gold ETF, and line go up after that. Right. I have a more obnoxious one. Do you have the obnoxious one? All right, here it is. Look at slide 3. Here's a more obnoxious one. Hey, now, you like that?
Oh, don't do that. No, I don't like that.
What do you mean? Don't do that. It adds effect.
Lock your scale. Thing went up 5x in several years.
So, I got people on Twitter being like, JC, it had nothing to do with the ETF. My mathematical model means that it was cyclical. Bro, are you fucking crazy? As soon as, because remember, it was a similar situation back then. Institutions had a hard time buying gold. Like institutions in their mandate couldn't just buy bullion or whatever. You had the gold mining stocks, sound familiar? But it wasn't a pure play on gold. Sound familiar? Right?
I mean, yeah.
So all of a sudden now everybody could buy gold, and gold went straight up for years. It was fun being a gold bug. Being a gold bug was cool. The gold bug parties were great. Partying in Vancouver, things like that. It's good times. You think this was just a coincidence, like the Twitterati tells me? Oh, it had nothing to do with the ETF. Pay no attention to that ETF, JC. It was my mathematical model that sent it higher.
So anyway, let's bring this full circle now to the Bitcoin ETF.
Well, and we're going to talk about it today at 2, by the way, if you want to tell everybody what we're doing. We got so many questions about
certainly will.
So many questions about our crypto breakthrough event last week. Nice timing, right? How about that? Wish I could tell you that we did that on purpose. It's just kind of how things worked out. But we got a lot of questions. So, we had a little event last week. Got a lot of questions. So we're running it back today, 2:00. Spencer, you want to drop people the link there so they
it's gonna be right here on YouTube.
Right here on YouTube.
You don't even have to go anywhere. You just gotta.
You don't even have to go anywhere.
Stay here and.
So he's already put out some prepared remarks.
Who's he?
Talking about Powell, right?
What's a Powell?
He's testifying. Wait. How do we get on that?
No, nobody here cares about that guy. Oh, we're talking about what I'm going to be saying, and I do have some prepared remarks for 2 p.m. today.
Should I
am what matters here. Look, you see? I am in charge now, right? What's that movie? Right.
I am the captain now.
I am the captain now. Right.
So should I watch you or the Powell? What do you think?
To be honest, I don't give a shit what you do. If you want to sit there listening to the Powell, then that's your prerogative. I am going to be reading my prepared remarks today at 2:00, where we are where we're talking about cryptocurrencies. And honestly, if you think for 1 second that this ETF doesn't matter, before the ETFs launched, the new 9 or whatever they call them, right? Before that, we knew that it wasn't bearish. The question was more about how bullish is it, right? Would we all agree there? It was like, okay, new totally. ETF. The fact that all these institutions can now buy it, that's definitely not bearish. How bullish is it? Was really the big question. Holy shit. It has exceeded my expectations by like a lot. And I came in with pretty high expectations, not going to lie. I had kind of like a high bar. I figured this would be pretty bullish, but holy shit. I mean, we're seeing huge inflows, more volume in there than SPY or QQQ. These things haven't even traded options yet. It's crazy. It's honestly, I'm blown away. This is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like it. So throw up the GLD there quickly. The GLD launch. Pick whichever one you want. One less.
I'm not surprised by this at all, and I don't think anyone should be.
You're not surprised by it? I mean, listen.
No, I'm really not.
Hold on, I'm not surprised by it, but are you telling me that it has not exceeded your expectations?
I didn't have expectations for it because that would have been a mistake. A lot of people who had expectations fucked it up. So I just thought it would be great.
It's not like I didn't do anything about these expectations. I just had them like as a human who thinks. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like I was like calculating, the inflows and setting a target based on it. It was just like, hey, this is probably going to be good for Bitcoin. How good is it going to be? I don't know, but it's probably going to be pretty good. But it's been way better than just pretty good.
I have some good information.
Throw it up? Spencer, can you throw it up, please?
Yeah. Put up the chart. I have some good information from the baby boomer demographic.
The GLD.
There are people out there who wanted to buy Bitcoin, wanted to have some sort of exposure to this space, but were never comfortable with the platforms or the vehicles that they had to use. That's just the bottom line.
Isn't this the same thing?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You had the miners, you couldn't buy the bullion, the institutions couldn't participate. I mean, it's the deja vu all over again, right? To quote the great Yogi Berra.
And I think this demographic of people that are now entering and gaining exposure is, at least in terms of size, I'm talking about sheer dollars, they're very large, very material, right? So people at retirement age or close to retirement age, right?
Who cares about people at retirement age? What does that matter?
These are the ones. These are the incremental buyers right now.
Bullshit. No.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
You think our generation's not invested already if they want to?
It's not about our generation. Strazza, it's not about our generation. We're not talking about people investors. They don't matter. Retail investors don't matter. I'm talking about the institutions.
Same story with the institutions.
No, that is the story.
Saying it's the same story.
Can't we just say it's everybody? Let's just say it's everybody.
It's everybody, but grandma's not going to move the needle.
I think you're wrong about that. I think
it's not a bad thing that grandma can now buy it for her retirement account. Again, that's not bad. That's fine. Great. It's the institutions that in their mandate weren't able to participate, and now they can. It has nothing to do with our generation or the boomers. It has to do with a gajillion dollars of financial institutions that literally it was illegal for them to buy it before, and now it is not.
It's both, but yes, it's in
yes,
large
it's
part
both. But which one's going to dominate that? Which one's going to move the needle, Strazza? Come on, man.
We've talked about this. Yes, it created a pathway for the institutions to finally get involved in what they feel is a responsible way.
Great.
But I will tell you too,
I don't think grandma's retirement account's going to move the needle. Just like I don't think the halvening is going to move the needle that much either. Is it bearish that grandma can participate? No. Is it bearish that there's a halvening coming up and the miners are now going to sell half of what they're mined? No. But is that really what's going to move the needle? Or is it the institutions that now can participate in the ETFs? Like, that's the big story, I think. No? Am I crazy?
It's the institutions, fine. But I think you're underestimating there are some people out there who have large sums of money who are not institutions.
I hope I am. I doubt it. Because large sums of money for humans is large on an absolute basis, but relative to everything else, does it really matter? You know? And by the way, these high net worth investors, the ones that actually do matter, they were already able to be in Bitcoin, right? Would you agree with that?
A lot of them were, yeah.
Like if you have a high net worth, let's say you have $100 million or more, or even $10 million or more, you could be in this, right? There are ways you could do it. It's fine. So I think it's more on the institutional side. I think that's the real story. It's not the halvening.
I don't disagree.
Not grandma.
And when I was saying that, there are people that now can invest and get exposure to the space that in the past weren't comfortable with the platforms and the products that they had. Talking about the institutions also.
Yeah, for sure. I got one more chart on gold if you want to go refresh your coffee, Strazza.
I want to talk about banks.
All right, we can talk about banks after that. This is an interesting one, right? Because I'm getting a lot of questions about gold. Gold making new all-time highs. Spencer, throw up the ratio of the gold bugs index relative to gold. So here we're looking at gold futures up on top, going back, 25 years. And then down, actually, this goes back to the inception of the gold bugs index in 1996. So the gold bugs index has about 15 of the biggest gold mining stocks cap weighted. And in black, you're looking at a ratio of the gold bugs index relative to gold futures, right? So these are the gold stocks, the mining stocks relative to gold in black, and then gold up on top. Notice over the last 30, almost 30 years, when the gold mining stocks, when the gold bugs index starts to outperform, right, puts in a bottom on a relative basis, that's great for gold prices, right? We see that again and again and again. If you're a gold bug now, right, or you're long gold now, you want to see those gold mining stocks participate. So far, they haven't. Granted, you had some buying pressure over the last week or so. It's a great start. But just to remind everybody, we're near new all-time lows on a relative basis. If you get that V bottom that we've seen before in gold stocks relative to the price of gold, I think that's super bullish for precious metals. I think this is a good chart. What do you think, Spencer?
I can't argue with it.
Is it a good chart? Strazza doesn't like it because it says gold in it.
No.
You, who tends to be more open-minded.
I'm more open-minded. Sure. Yeah.
Well, you don't think you're more open-minded than Strazza?
On some things.
Stubborn sometimes.
No. It's a good chart. And you said this the other week. We were talking about ETF launches. I was comparing this to like another ETF launch, like all the other growth tech ETFs. And you're like, no, it's really more. This is a better comparison would be gold. And you're right. I think you're right. So
yeah, because some of these like weird thematic ETFs that launched like in 2000, 2001, they never had any real AUM. Gold has $13 trillion. Gold is $13 trillion in market cap when you take all the gold together. Like that's not nothing.
All right. Enough about this. We're gonna have Brian Lund on in 8 minutes. I know Strazza wants to talk about TradFi. He did some buying yesterday. So did I actually on the TradFi front.
Ooh, a little TradFi buying, huh?
Little TradFi buying. Unlike Strazza, I did not feed the ducks in Bitcoin in DeFi. He said he was going to do that. I have not. But,
We're going to talk about exactly what we're doing in DeFi and in cryptocurrencies today at 2:00. So we'll save that for then.
Yeah.
You guys join us on YouTube. Spencer dropped
Yeah.
the link. That's going to be a lot of fun.
The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Check it out. You want to throw up the calendar there, Fonz, just for a second? We have come basically to the end of earnings season. This is it. This is the last week we're going to do the calendar.
And when does it start again? Next week?
No. When's the cycle? It's like what is it? Like middle of May, I think. Middle of May. So anyway, there's a couple big moves today. Don't kid yourself. I mean, Abercrombie and Fitch just blew it out of the water. They had a high bar and they somehow cleared it. Foot Locker is a train wreck. Nordstrom train wreck. So we you got some moves out there. I'm really looking forward. I'm always looking forward to Costco's report. That's one of the ones I most look forward to.
Why?
Because I shop there a lot, right? And I find their business to be so interesting. Just paying for the privilege to shop it somewhere. So yeah.
$1.50 hot dogs and a soda. Is that the sitch?
Yeah, and they're never going to increase in price as long as the founder's alive.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, it's a loss leader. They're not making money on the dogs.
No, they are not.
They're keeping people fed. Like when my wife walks into one of these bougie clothing stores and they hand her a glass of Prosecco or a glass of champagne, they're like, drink up, Missy, so you buy more,
Oh,
kind of one of those.
Fonz, why don't you? Do we have the CrowdStrike chart? Can you pull that up? Yeah. CrowdStrike is wild child here. So I'll give you the headline numbers. The EPS beat, the sales beat. They gave some guidance. EPS guidance for the quarter was good. Revenue guidance for the quarter was good. EPS guidance for the year in line. Revenue guidance for the year, very good. And so there's the chart, which obviously does not reflect the pre-market session here, but we're up. What are we up? A lot. I know we're up a lot. Oh yeah, 22%. That's a lot. Okay. Do you have thoughts?
All right. So what does Strazza want to talk about the banks? I'm curious on that because financials are literally running into their former highs from a few years ago. So I'm curious to see how he wants to play this.
All right. Well, I don't know where he went. So when he comes back from wherever he is, I assume getting coffee.
Is he that is Strazza that upset that I was talking about gold? He really doesn't like it.
No. I think he was getting coffee or something. I don't know.
Throw up the gold bugs ratio.
Wait. Do you have thoughts on the CrowdStrike or not really?
Yeah, if we're above those former highs, it's fine. I mean, listen, this looks like so many other charts where in some cases you're stuck below those former highs and failing, like Google, for example, or software, for example, ran into those former highs and are failing. Some are kind of still working on it, still digesting that overhead supply, like the XLF, which is the financials index. So the trade is kind of like the same across the board. If you look at industrials, semiconductors, home builders, broker dealer, the New York Stock Exchange broker dealers index, all of those are above those former highs. So like we discussed yesterday, it's hard to be overly bearish the market in general if those key industry groups are above those former cycles highs, right? So I would put CrowdStrike, maybe it's not as important to the overall market as those other things, but it looks exactly the same. So I could say literally the same thing.
I should mention I did not buy CrowdStrike yesterday, but I did buy the cyber ETF. General rule of thumb: whenever there's like a widespread outage of apps and websites, usually not a bad time to buy some cyber, because it happens every so often, and cyber's been good. So
this company just crushed their earnings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like wow.
Strazza, what's up with the banks? I want to know what you did.
These banks look so good, JC. Where's he doesn't want to talk about it? So
I want to hear. Tell me.
Do we have bank charts, Fonz? JP Morgan, looks like AMD, CrowdStrike, any of these tech stocks, leadership stocks. Now the rest of the space is kind of joining the party. You look at something like Bank of America, it's trading at its highest level, fresh 52-week highs, actually, just about a week away from fresh 52-week highs. Wells Fargo seems to be up every day and is just a couple points away from its prior cycle highs from early 2022, around $60. And Citigroup is completing a beautiful base. Right, so these are the big 6 banks really I'm going through. Goldman Sachs had that coil that we talked about last week.
We did.
Looks like it's maybe finally going to resolve higher, but this one's been slow to start. I think what you're going to see is participation broaden, not just in financials. We've already seen that, but within banking industry group, right? And I think you really want to keep an eye on these regional banks. They're perking up again here. They had these nice reversal patterns in place that kind of completed in Q4 of last year. And then you've had a couple months of sideways, just digestion of those gains. So I think the entire banking space is gearing up for a fresh leg higher, kicked off first by the leaders, the big banks we just talked about. Now I'm looking for some strength down the cap scale and out on the risk spectrum to these regional banks.
All right. I did not buy any banks yesterday, but I was looking for some financial exposure because I'm underweight there. So I bought the insurance. I know I probably paid way up for it. I know I paid way up for it.
It's defensive. Why don't you buy like one of these broker dealers that are breaking out?
I almost bought the broker dealer. What's the III?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I almost bought that. It was between III and IAK.
Why not buy like ICE or TradeWeb?
Well, I mean, I could have. I was looking for broad industry group exposure specifically yesterday, and so those are the 2 things that I bought.
So I like that, but I would say broker dealers over insurance, definitely.
Yeah, I went back and forth for a while.
I'm both.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer's looking for JC. You missed my spiel about the banks.
I heard it.
But you disagree.
It's not that I disagree. It's that I am not personally, throw up slide 2, I'm not personally going to buy something as it hits our target.
What's hitting our target? You said you didn't want to buy JP Morgan when it was breaking out above the prior cycle highs. Look at it now.
Right, great. But
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable loading up on financials as literally financials are reaching those former highs. I don't have to be in such a rush. I'm 42 years old. Like I'm going to live to like 120 probably. So,
Okay.
that's like I got almost 80 years to go. So I don't need to like rush to get into financials. I'd rather let them dance, let them digest this overhead supply. I don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe it breaks out tomorrow. Maybe it waits 6 months. I have no idea, but I don't have to be in such a rush. By the way, we were super aggressively long financials in November, where the ongoing joke internally in our meetings was, bro, we're not long financials enough. We're not long enough. All right. We were right. We fucking crushed that trade. We crushed it. And now I'm just taking it easy a little bit because we're in March and it's not November when we were loading up. Like, that was a great trade. So like, I'm trying to keep the money we made and I want to let them dance. If you want to buy banks, you're welcome to buy banks. I'm going to let them dance a little bit.
I don't know what you're so upset about. That's like saying, I
couldn't be happier for the record. We nailed the trade.
I don't know. I think it's so that's like, we made a great trade. Let's not make another one. Like, so we made a great trade.
We made a great trade. My target in financials has always been those former all-time highs. We're here now.
Yeah, fine. Here's the problem with this logic. By this logic, you would have said, don't buy NVIDIA at 400 because the semiconductor index is running into overhead supply. Today, you would say something like, today you'd say, don't buy CrowdStrike because the cybersecurity ETF is running into its old highs.
No.
Don't buy JP Morgan because financials are running into
JP Morgan, to your point, Strazza, JP Morgan is the same exact situation as NVIDIA was last year when NVIDIA was breaking out before semiconductors broke out.
Yeah, so leaders are going to lead. Why don't we want to own them?
Oh, no, I don't give a shit. I'm not telling you. I already told you. Buy the bags. I'm telling you what I am not doing right now. And I'm not upset.
But it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
KeyCorp, back to the well. Let's go, baby. I'll be out of those Wells Fargo.
As they like to make fun of us. I've heard worse ideas, I suppose.
There you go. There you go. Look at that. We're all friends here. All right, I'm bringing on Brian Lund.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
BC Lund in the house.
Brian Lund.
I always seem to come on right after you guys have a spat.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad you're here too.
Thank you.
So I saw you were tweeting out on the Twitter. You were tweeting out that you had like all these goodies. Like you had it looked like you had a steak, and then you had like on a stir fry going with like onions, carrots, and celery. Do I have that right?
I didn't see this.
So I made a Italian pot roast stracotto last night, which is I think that's called a sofrite, right? When you have the carrots and the celery and the
Yeah,
onions and everything.
sofrito.
So,
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, that's right. There you go. So I made that last night.
Dude, look at you, quite the chef.
Yeah.
A drummer.
Oh wow.
Drumming a lot these days, or what?
I am. I'm drumming a lot. I got a setup in the garage that my neighbors hate, but who cares? And
Why don't you pick the quiet one? You know,
because I'll tell you why. It's like paper trading. It's a different dynamic. It just doesn't feel the same, right? So why do it? You know.
when Fami lived in the city, he lived like 2 blocks from me, and he got one of those kits, and then he just put it in the corner and just never set it up.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he still
so
has it somewhere not set up.
Yeah, and I watched Joe get on stage with Sebastian Bach and a bunch of other guys out at his birthday party, and he actually played the drums for a couple songs. I was very impressed.
Were you? All right, because he talks a big game, but I respect your opinion. He's got game, Fami?
Well, here's the thing, right? He got up at his birthday party in front of all of his friends with professional musicians, just, and probably had a few in the bag when he got up there, and was just rock solid, like just, didn't miss a beat. So that's pressure.
Good for him. Good for I
Yeah.
can't, it's a bummer that I didn't make that birthday party. In the old days before kids, I was in Vegas with Fami all the time. Fami's a great person to be in Las Vegas with, by the way. So shout out Fami and his birthday. Thank you for being here, BC Lund.
Yeah, and speaking of birthdays, a belated birthday to you. Like I saw you and
Thank
Josh
you.
out, and Steve, you were there too, right? The whole crew. I feel left out. That's what happens when you're on the West Coast. You miss these things. So, but happy birthday.
Thank
A lot of
you.
bull market birthday parties going on.
I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of bull market parties these days. Getting back to the old saying that bull markets are more fun than bear markets.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't make money in bear markets. In fact, you make money a lot faster in bear markets. But the parties are better in bull markets, and they're much more frequent. And we've been talking about this lately, how the parties we've been going to lately, first of all, there's a bunch of them, and they're way better than the ones we used to go to 2 years ago. Would you agree with all of that?
Yeah, 100%. Except I never go to any parties.
You were just talking about being in Vegas for Joe Fami's birthday party. Don't give me that shit.
Like this just shows you how much I love Joe, right? Like there's very few people I would travel. Like I never get east of Vegas unless it's a funeral or a wedding, right? So Vegas is like that's my border there. And so, but the only reason I would go is because Joe. I mean, he's a great guy,
It's funny. Now that you mention it, I don't think I've ever seen you in New York City.
I've been there before a few times back in the day. I'll tell you a funny story though. So my sister lives in Vegas, and Joe said, "Yeah, bring her along." So she and I went out. She met Joe. Blah blah blah. 2 weeks later, or a few months later, I guess, I get a text at the same time. One from Joe, one from my sister. They both ran into each other at the Raider game. Right? As Joe's everywhere.
It's awesome.
I'm dying to go to one of those games. I'm looking forward to going to an A's game in Vegas. All right.
Yeah.
Guests were just in Vegas. Someone was
Everybody's in Vegas except me.
Vegas.
Everybody's there but me. All right.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the markets?
Do we have to?
Yes, we have to. We have to talk about the markets. This is what we do. Brian, would you agree? I can't think of a situation where I am, too rich and too old and too retired to stop caring about the market. Like, I just don't see that situation. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to check the futures. It's going to be Sunday at 6 p.m. I'm going to check the futures. Are you one of those guys like me?
Yeah, there's people like us, and then people that I call civilians, right? They don't know, like, I'll be at the Starbucks when the NASDAQ futures are down 300 points, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, don't you know the NASDAQ? Like,
yes.
So
they're clueless. Yeah. They're clueless.
Exactly. So
That's really
I'm like
funny.
that. But I'll tell you one thing about the civilians. One thing that's really great is they are a good contraindicator. Like when you start getting your uncle who never pays attention to the market saying, "Hey, I think I'm going to start getting some of this crypto," or something like that. That's always a sign to just go, maybe I should look at the charts here. Maybe we're at a short-term top. So we can use
getting that at all?
Are you getting what's that?
Are you getting that at all?
No, I don't have anyone in my circles that really is into crypto. Sometimes my wife will come home from work and tell me that someone at her company talked about it, but I try to avoid civilians as much as possible.
Is she familiar with how we use the contrarian indicator? Is that why she's telling you that, or is she just volunteering that information?
My wife is kind of a contrary indicator herself. I remember she was telling me you remember October when we bottomed in, was it 2022,
Two.
right? Yeah. And we go every weekend up to the LA Arboretum, we walk, and she's like, I think the market's in a bad spot. I think we should maybe take all our money out. And I was like, time to put money in.
Time to double down, right? That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's
But
how,
of course, you know how you do it, JC. You go, okay. You just say, okay. I'm not going to have an argument there about how the cycle is over.
You
and
can't tell her. You can't
Yeah.
tell her she's a contrarian indicator because then you lose the data.
She doesn't understand stage 1, stage 2 stocks.
No.
I'd have to introduce her to Brian
crossovers.
Shannon. She'd have to read his whole book. It's too much work.
Too much work. I agree.
Speaking of the stage 1 to stage 2 stuff, I know there are some bases that are just now completing and some new industry groups that seem to be joining the party. Any of these kind of catching your eye, Brian?
Well, the one we talked about, I think on either yesterday, Steve, or last week's Robinhood. It's the most obvious one. That's the one that's almost too perfect. Other than that, I'm in a weird spot.
What does that mean? Too perfect?
Too clean. I'll tell you, it's too textbook.
Yeah, exactly. So when we were growing up, you're reading Edwards and McGee. You're reading all the, it's John. What's the other guy's name? Can't remember his name.
John Murphy.
Yeah, John. All those things, and they show you all the perfect setups, right, in the book. And you think to yourself, "Wow, when will I see that?" And you never do, right? You never see it exactly like that. And then when you do, you go, "That just looks a little too on the nose." It's like a company that's in AI called AI. It's a little bit too, on the nose.
But speaking
That's
of
why
anchored
we call them
VWAP,
textbook.
but hold on. But speaking of anchored VWAP, didn't Robinhood, like I'm thinking you guys are calling this a textbook bottom, big bearish to bullish reversal, stage 1 or stage 2, whatever. That's what you guys are referring to in Robinhood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
isn't it just running into the anchored VWAP from the IPO? Do we not care about that?
It's just about there. I think you want to use that as confirmation, though.
So you want to get above that. So you really want to be clear in 17, right?
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, go ahead.
I would
Steve.
use that for confirmation, but go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to say, so we're talking about the 4 stages, Stan Weinstein and then Brian's work on it. And so if you look at Robinhood, it didn't really have a distribution stage. That was like basically the week after it went IPO, right? And then it went into decline right from there. And so now, ideally, it's in stage 1, right? Which is the accumulation. Well, it's actually just broke out of stage 1. So it's in maybe starting the markup stage. So that's what it looks like right now. We don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that's what it looks like.
What Brian is saying is that this stock has literally never been in an uptrend before.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It was in the private markets.
And I'm still
throw up slide 2. Throw up slide 2.
Pretty good one back in the day in the private markets too.
I know. I don't want to really talk about it. Some of you know the story. I was this
I don't know
close.
it. Tell me the story, JC. I don't know the story.
Bro, I was this close to getting a large chunk, a very meaningful amount at a 65 million valuation. This close. Me and Lindsay were gonna do the deal. Lindsay ended up getting a bunch. I got 0. This says 65 million valuation, and all the initial investors had right of first refusal. They all said no. Andreessen, there was a Google, I think also Google Ventures, and then Index Ventures was the last one, and they had one night to say yes. And I was like, they're not going to say yes tonight. It's our deal, and they took it. They took the whole thing down.
Close, but no cigar.
So if I would have gotten that deal, you guys would have never seen me again, probably.
Yeah, you wouldn't be on this show right now.
You would never see me again, probably.
Then everything works out for the best, because what would we do without you?
Shit happens, man, and it wasn't one of those things like I screwed up. There was nothing I could have done there, right? So it's not like, lesson learned. Like, no lesson learned. I just got screwed. That's just life,
How about Palantir, Brian?
Oh, hold on. Can we get nobody cares? We're just running into that anchored VWAP. Nobody cares.
No, that's fine, but you have a very, very clear resistance level at the pivot highs from 22-23 that has been broken. Use this as confirmation. Don't wait. That reversal's in if we're above those old highs, right?
I don't know. I don't think it's that clean.
But we've been waiting for the relative trend to kind of come around and look more like this, and it is, and it's close. So if that's the bet you're making, hey, I want to see the relative trend book a clean, primary trend reversal.
Well, like a hood spy.
Yeah, Hood IWV, but they all look the same. Then maybe that's a better entry, right? Waiting for that relative trend to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to speak for Brian Shannon, but I think his methodology would be you wait for it to base a little bit here at the VWAP, and then if it breaks above it, that's when you would buy it.
Look at the new slide 3, Spencer. So this is what Strazza is talking about on a relative basis. So this is the Hood SPY. So this is Robinhood
Close.
relative to the S&P 500.
It's close. Yeah.
Looks like a big sideways range to me.
It looks like it wants to get this reversal completed. Close.
I guess we'll see. So I think I'm kind of in the camp with BC Lund here. Kind of, let him dance a little bit.
I don't like this company. I won't be buying it. I'm just
hold on. You don't like this company, but you like this one. Can you throw up slide 4 there, Spencer? So Strazza doesn't like one company, loves the other.
I like companies that do the right thing.
He likes one company, doesn't like the other.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be Coinbase.
Yeah, but dude,
I don't know. Samesies? No.
Dude, give me a break. Give me a break. This is an absolute chart crime. The fact that you're trying to make these two stocks look the same. Coinbase was literally the best performing stock in the entire stock market last year. Robinhood was stuck in a sideways range. These charts are not the same. I don't know how you did this.
Shittier version, but they're moving together. Just saying. I don't have a horse in the race here. I don't give a shit. I don't have a horse in the race. BC Lund, any thoughts here?
I don't know about this.
Am I getting cute with this chart? Is this a chart crime?
It's bullshit.
So Steve and I talked about this yesterday on Technical Tuesdays, and we talked about the fundamental case for Coinbase. And we contrasted it against what happened to FTX, what happened to Robinhood. So, I mean, I think I think Brian Armstrong is a great operator, and the stock has performed amazingly in the last, few months. So it's certainly doing better than Robinhood.
Strazza has such a man crush on Brian Armstrong.
Ben Wright in the chat. I'm with Strazza. The Robinhood CEO is a trash human. Also in the chat, is BC Lund a rapper name?
It's a great rapper name.
I've been wondering the same.
BC, if you're going to start rapping, he's more into like hair metal and
Dude, hair metal. Give me a break. Yeah. So it's funny. No one ever called me BC in my life until I started my WordPress blog, because I didn't know what to call it. So I just, my middle name is Christopher. So I like BC Lund, and then everyone just adopted that. So
you've been called worse things, I'm sure.
Oh, you don't even know. Hey, so we're talking about stocks. So here's a stock that I call it Jicama because it's an inside joke in the Lund Loop Discord, but it's Jumia, right?
Yeah.
So the wrap on Jumia, I'm sure you know, is going to be the Amazon of Africa. Whatever. It's been in a massive downtrend, but it recently broke that downtrend, and it's back above a little pivot highs there from July. It's a little ahead of itself right now, but it certainly has woken up. So this is one that I would definitely keep an eye on, see if it can back and fill a little bit and find an entry.
Did they just issue more shares or something? Because the volume is like absolutely blown up since February 15th.
I don't know what they did, but I am kicking myself because after that earnings, they formed a great bull flag right underneath the resistance level, and it dropped off my radar for a little bit, and then next thing I know, it went from 4 to 7, 8.
That was the level too, like right there.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah. No, this one's a flyer though. I mean, this thing really moves. You get some weakness back towards those pivot highs around $5 all day, and these online retailers, these because this is not like a new thing, right? The Amazon of somewhere else. So all these Amazons of wherever are starting to work. We talk about C Limited a lot on here. That's another one.
Yeah, and I think the wrap on these things is a lot of people, fast money, will look at it and go, "It's up 100%. I blew it. I missed it." Right? That's if I miss a stock like that, but I see that action, that puts it on my list, right? That's like, hey, I need to watch this thing because if this thing does get back up to all-time highs, and I'm not saying it's going to, but if it does, there's going to be so many opportunities along the way to get in with very low risk entries, and so you want to keep an eye on it.
If this,
I want to point out from a macro standpoint, anybody who is not
overlay
charts. Hold on. Let me explain before you start calling me chart crime again.
Through one session without pot stocks, but okay.
These are representatives, and I think we'll all agree these are representatives of the first stocks that peaked in the prior cycle in February of 2021. Okay. Chinese internet peaked, all the ARC stocks, biotechnology, everybody had a SPAC, the pod stocks, the
NFTs.
Amazon of NFTs kept going. They did. And so did crypto for that matter. But the stocks themselves, they peaked in February, and the pod stocks, the Amazon of Africa, all of these things. So when they look exactly the same, now you're starting to see the, other pod stocks look better than Tilray, but just something to think about. These are, they peaked at the same time. They were dancing together on the way up, dancing together on the way down.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about 4 pot stocks. I think last time I was here, most of them still look like trash. I think the best looking one is True Leave, which is TCNNF.
What is it? TCNN? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's listed as TRUL.
Look how excited Strazza just got right now. Hold on,
Yeah,
a pot stock with 5 letters. What is that again?
So it's TRUL on the Canadian exchange. It's co-listed on I guess the pink sheets or OTC. So it's TCNNF, True Leave.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, but what's that?
Spencer heard pot stocks. Spencer heard pot stocks.
Is it Canadian A?
No, it's US.
So is Canopy Growth a 0? Why do they look so much worse than
They're Canadian. They're Canadian.
Yeah. Canadian stocks are getting, I mean, that's why Tilray is not doing well.
the stock
True Leave is True Leave is a Floridian.
Yeah, True Leave is big in Florida, Steve.
How about that?
Yeah, they're everywhere. I know. I'm aware. We got one right down the street.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of pot smoking in Key West, right?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Really?
I worry about myself, dude. I don't know who else is smoking pot.
I'm just saying.
I would imagine plenty of people are, but I don't know.
Yeah, like people are there to party, drink some brews, go to the Irish Kevin's.
If you're asking if it's a party town, the answer is yes, definitely.
Yes, exactly. Flip-flops and right, all right, BC.
It's spring break this week. Have you heard Miami is like shutting down spring break, so they're all coming here? It's a disaster.
I heard they're sending the National Guard out there or something, or police.
Miami is not playing. Do not go to Miami this week.
Dude, you don't want to be in Miami for spring break. You don't want to be in Miami during hip hop weekend. You get the hell out of there. I always wondered why my parents would always take me out of town on hip hop weekend. And then I got older and I was like, oh shit, this is why we leave.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Not good. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
You want to get the hell out of there. So BC, we talked about, I don't know, maybe the worst companies on the planet. Let's see, Robinhood, Jumaya, these are just terrible companies. BC, any thoughts?
Terrible companies.
Well, you know what I mean. Like these are like the worst performing stocks on the planet.
It's a fair statement.
Anything of quality?
So they are, but what we're doing is we're putting them on our radar to see if they're changing character. That's all we're saying, right? So, I mean, you could jump on CrowdStrike today, but it's kind of ahead of itself. So we're trying. I like buying things that come out of bases. I like things that come out of patterns that I recognize, and so I'm just looking for some things that might be the next winners. Not saying they will be, but
and how much of this is actually more of an emerging market story, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the wrong guy to ask about that. I don't know. I try to not follow the narratives because that's when I get screwed. So
what do you mean an emerging market story?
Because all of these things are perking up, whether it's VIP shops or C Limited or Coupang, right? These emerging tech names are starting to wake up. And
you mean in emerging country, like third world countries, things like that? Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, look, ever since I've been trading, the rap has been that someday Africa is going to be unleashed, right? That there's this continent with, tens or hundreds of millions of people, but it just hasn't happened yet. It just still hasn't happened. Is this the time that maybe it does happen? Maybe.
I was actually watching a documentary last night because I do these things late at night. I was watching a documentary last night on why the continent of Africa remains so poor. And I watched like the first half of it, and a lot of it had to do with like the Sahara Desert on top. Then you have like the sub-Sahara below it, and it's more of just like kind of like a geography thing situation. And then I fell asleep, so I don't know how it ended.
Well, it's somewhat geography, but to be honest, I mean, a lot of it's colonialism. I mean, a lot of the best resources in a lot of those countries have been stripped by colonial powers, and then what happens is when the colonial countries leave, you get a lot of despotism, a lot of corruption. So there's a lot of factors involved in why Africa has not emerged.
If you look at AFK, there's probably not a worse looking region in the world right now. than Africa. I mean, they got China beat.
And when you look at the performance, like last year, like everything was up. I think Africa was down last year. Like something like the performance of the Africa was fantastic. Was terrible.
No, it was lower.
Compared to
it was not.
Yeah, Latin America was the best performing region, then the US, then Europe. Africa was last.
This is a rap that I've heard for years on Vietnam too, right? Vietnam is going to be the one that emerges, you know, the sleeping tiger. That hasn't quite happened.
It's so real though. It's coming.
It's real. Yeah, it's real. Here's the problem. Well, so Vietnam's got everything set up perfect because you have all these expatriates that have gotten degrees, education over here. They're now going back that want to do business, but it's still a communist country, and it still has cronyism, and it sells a lot of things. It's getting better, but it's. I told this story before, right? My father-in-law, who is Vietnamese, born and raised in Vietnam, he about 5-6 years ago decided he wanted to retire in Vietnam, so he went back. He bought a house in this little town called Vung Tau. It's a beach town. Like Vietnam has beautiful beaches that nobody even knows about. Bought the house, came back here to get some stuff in order, went back 6 months later. The realtor he sold it to just broke into the house and resold it to somebody else.
It's property rights. Any of these countries, it just comes down to property rights. You can't get that nailed down. It's not a viable place to do business, live, anything.
Yeah, but in Singapore seems to be doing great, and you can't buy real estate there.
No, but if you are able to buy real estate, nobody's going to take it from you. Singapore is.
Yeah, I mean, you're like Singapore. You're like leasing it from the country, though. Like you're not buying the real estate.
Singapore is unlike any other place too. It's a bizarre situation over there.
It benefits from the rule of law. Like if you throw gum on the ground in Singapore, you go to jail, right? So that sucks if you're Singaporean, but if you want to be very structured in your business deals, it's a good thing.
I told Strazza, I was like, don't mess around in Singapore, bro. They're gonna lock you up.
I did nothing. I was afraid walking around Singapore for 2 days.
Here it's clean, very clean though.
Yeah, beautiful.
Strazza loved it. He's like walking around, like FaceTiming me. He's like, look at this place. This place is great.
I was melting in the sun.
Yes, you are melting in the sun. That's pretty funny. BC, before the fun police kicks you out, what else you got?
Well, not much. I mean, I honestly started raising cash back on the 12th when we had that reversal day that we didn't break out. And, it's weird. We had the CPI and PPI the week, I think, after that, where the market tanked. And then NVIDIA came by and saved the market, right? To me, that's not really healthy behavior. Like one stock saving the market is not really good behavior. So I got a lot of cash. I've been doing some small little trades here and there, but like it just feels to me a little toppy. Yesterday's action was not good. I see we're getting a little bit of a bounce in the futures today, but I'd love to see a 10% pullback. I think that would be super healthy for the market. I think it would be a fantastic buying opportunity. So I'm a little light right now in terms of positions and looking for stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not really disagreeing with you at all. What about your thoughts on Bitcoin? I mean, you're an old dog that likes to learn new tricks, right? Is that, I could say that respectfully, right? An older dog? Like I wouldn't say an old
whatever.
Dog. You look a lot younger than you are.
Everyone tells me that. I appreciate that.
So good.
I was down at your studio last year at some point with Patrick doing his show. Speaking of which, I could use Giancarlo to give me some makeup. I really need that makeup thing. And I told Patrick, I said, look, 99% of all crypto is going to zero, right? All the shit coins. And I said, probably the survivors will be Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe one or two others, Solana, maybe Cardano. It's just not my jam. Like I've never gotten comfortable with the infrastructure behind the trading. And I was involved in a little bit in 2021. I actually got out pretty close to the top, but have been not really involved in it since then. And yeah, it sucks to see it go up, but people are talking about Bitcoin being up 100% in a year. Facebook's up 400% in 2 years. And I got a bunch of that in my long-term account. So like, you pick your venues, and that's just not mine. I mean,
what about now with the new
money there? It's great.
What about now with the new ETF?
Yeah, I'm sure that my money manager has some of my money in it, in that ETF. I don't know. I mean, I think it's part of a well-diversified portfolio, long term, sure. Like you said, I don't. I think Bitcoin will be here. Ethereum will be here. I just wonder about the speculative nature, right? Like I think the utility will be here. It just feels so frothy. I mean, you can't look at this run that we've seen in the last 2 weeks and say that is a healthy price action. I mean, it reminds me of the late 90s, but it is what it is.
Brian, you don't strike me as like a gold expert either. I don't think we've ever discussed gold ever, you and me.
No.
But remember what gold did after that gold ETF came out in 04? You think that was a coincidence?
So I don't pay attention to gold at all, so I don't remember what happened. What happened?
Line went up.
Sure.
Very much so. You know, as soon as institutions had the ability, throw up slide 9. As soon as the institutions had the ability to enter that market,
I mean, it does feel like it's got to the point where it's self-perpetuating, like it can't not happen. But I don't know. It's like I don't want to worry about the halvenings and all these. Like it's
don't worry about the halvening. I don't think the halvening matters that much.
Wasn't that a movie a few years ago? The halvening. I thought I saw that.
It's going to be an upcoming documentary. The Bitcoin halving. I'm sure it probably already is.
What part of the cycle are we in?
That was the happening, but close.
Oh, the happening.
Yeah.
What part of the cycle are we in if Ryan Dietrich's over here pinging me about Uniswap?
Stop it. No, he's not.
Swear to God. Love you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Dietrich is texting you about Uniswap?
We Twitter DM. That's our mode of communication, but yes.
All right. Good intel. Good intel.
M. Night Shyamalan has to do that, the halvening. That needs to be the next one we do.
This is a stock market guy. Hardcore Ryan Dietrich here talking about Uniswap. All right. Good to know. Little insight there, BC, right? Little insight.
Yeah. I love Ryan. Ryan's great. He's one of the first people. He and Joe Fahmy are like two of the first people I met from like FinTwit in real life. I think I met him he was with LPL back then. I think I met him at StockTwits.
By the way, I hear LPL.
Yeah. I hear Lynn's popping off about maybe reviving Stocktoberfest.
I'm hearing some things.
You guys
I know you're hoping because it's in your backyard. So you're like, that would be great.
You guys may have to get to the West Coast.
I've heard so much stuff about this conference over there on this little island in San Diego.
You never been?
No, I never got to go.
When's the last time they did it? It was like 5 years ago.
2018.
Yeah. Before COVID, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there was a 2019 event. There may have been. I don't remember. There probably was.
Yeah, they had great swag. I have this backpack. It's my favorite backpack ever that I got from it was swag at Stocktoberfest. So
I have this liver that's not in as good a shape as it was because of those. So that was my souvenir.
Well, that could be many different venues. So
that's fair. There's a lot of late night drinking at the deck there at the Dell.
You guys will have to do. They'll do Future Proof in September, and then Stocktoberfest in October. We may see you guys out here twice.
I don't know. It's aggressive, man. I got too many kids, man. I can't be traveling.
That's true. Yeah.
That's it. All right, BC. Always a pleasure. By the way, normies. Not a single normie on the planet calls you BC, right?
No. My wife calls me B, and then when she's mad at me, she calls me Brian. Like if I ever hear her say Brian, I know I'm fucked. So.
Nice.
All right, guys. Brian's Twitter, Brian's site, both in the description. Check it out. Brian, thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Later. Thanks, BC. Let's just check in on the markets. Dow futures up 280 points this morning, by the way. S&P futures up 35 handles, about 70 bips. NASDAQ futures up a full percent right now. Bond futures, 30-year, basically flat. Silver up almost 1%. Copper up 1%. Gold only up 30 basis points. Crude oil up 2%. Man, that crude oil continues to outperform equities. Really, really interesting what's happening there. Dollar down, VIX down, back under 14. U.S. 10-year yield hovering right around that level, right around that 4.1, 4.2. Checking in on the funny money here. You've got Bitcoin up 5%, 67,000. You've got Ethereum. Ethereum up 8%, 38.50 on Ethereum right now. Solana up 2%, right around 128. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel, you ready for this? 2.44 trillion.
You can. I'm not interested in the total crypto market cap updated every hour. Okay. It doesn't interest me. I'm
It's moving quite a bit.
I'm interested like once a day. You can give it to me once a day. I don't need it every hour on the hour. All right.
Saying.
All
Big
right.
deal. It's a big deal.
I know there are some interesting things in the hot corner today that Steve wants to discuss.
Please.
Palantir, quickly before we hit the hot corner. Couple. What? We got to talk about the breaking news. It's 9:30. Palantir, a couple mentions in the chat. They just did a deal with, I believe, the Army. Let me see here. Palantir, Army selects Palantir to deliver the Titan next generation deep sensing capability and prototype maturation phase. A lot of big words. I have no idea what this sentence means, but they're always doing things. They're one of the largest government contractors, I think, outside of Amazon. I think they're the second largest. So they're, always fulfilling new contracts with the government. That's what makes this company kind of so exciting. The cat just fell. Sorry. So breaking out to new highs here today after you got like a nice reversal pattern completion, consolidation, breakout, now something high and tight. It looks like we're breaking out. So this one looks great. And again, this is one of the AI leaders. Running back to those old highs, you're looking at 70%. Oh, I think there's a lot to like here. You get a nice little continuation pattern like this. It's very actionable.
You know what? This is also an interesting signal because, like you said, Steve, Palantir, they do these contracts all the time. They announce new stuff. And there was definitely a period of time not so long ago when
nobody cared.
They would, well, before nobody cared, they cared a lot. Palantir would announce a contract, the stock would be up 10%. And right. So it's up 8% now. At least it was last I checked. I don't know what it's doing at the exact moment. So yeah, they would announce a contract, everybody would care. And then all of a sudden they would announce a contract and then nobody would care. Right. And then now maybe they care again. But this is, like you said, this is
the nature of it.
Right. Yeah. It's like MicroStrategy and issuing debt, right? It's like, this is the business. This is what they do. So
yes, I couldn't agree more. You don't want to overthink this. They should be doing deals and signing new contracts with the government constantly. That's the business that these guys are in. And listen, I like this one. You're getting a little breakout from what? You got a coil here, which began early February. So 1 month coil. Looks like you're kind of getting some new highs today. I'm long this one. Stay long this one. Calls common. Let's go.
All right. Let's
I got one more. Okay. Before we do. Can you throw up slide 2? This is right up Strazza's alley as well. I say this respectfully, Strazza. I'm not saying you're young.
Well.
This one's no good.
Hold on. I'll tell you this. Do you remember last year in the fall that we were looking at biotechnology stocks, the XBI, and we were saying, man, every time it gets down here, it rips. Man, every time it gets down here, it rips. And nobody wanted biotechs, and they looked terrible. But the fact remained, every time biotechs got down to those lows, they ripped. And now here we are with JD.com. By the way, it's up like 17% on the day, but that's another story.
Here's what I worry about with these Chinese stocks.
It's Chinese.
It's the really big ones, right? That have nice positive cash flows and cash in the bank that get harassed by the government. It's almost one of those situations where once you get too big and you're Alibaba in China, you have a freaking target on your back. And I think that's why JD looks the way it does.
Alibaba is $200 billion company. JD is a $30 billion company.
It's still
so
big.
Is it too big or is it big enough? You're saying?
I think it's big enough. I don't know because you could easily say, okay, by that logic, then why does Pinduoduo look so good, right?
Because they're based in Ireland.
They're big too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
But VIP shops looks interesting. VIPs, VIPS. 10-cent Music gave a little bit back. We're still long TME. The education companies continue to look good. TAL. This Coupang, CPNG.
If TME is not above 10, I'm not in this. No thanks.
Let's give them some back. Just chill out a little bit.
I'm going to chill out forever if this thing is below 10.
God. I know. Yeah. I think there's going to be some great trades in this group.
I think there's opportunity costs in buying some of this stuff when you could just be shorting Apple like a normal person, Yeah,
it's so normal.
JC, you are buying this stuff, but in a different way.
What am I buying? China?
Yeah.
I don't know any China.
I thought you were doing like a pairs trade with China.
Oh
No.
no, I like anything that the S&P 500 is the denominator. So like long oil.
Wait, am I misremembering? Did you not just buy like some China leaps or FXI leaps or something like that?
Oh yeah. No, but that's like
Okay.
that's a year out, and it's a tiny
Okay.
irrelevant position.
It doesn't
You're right,
count.
Spencer.
It doesn't count.
It almost doesn't count because it does. It's 1/6 of the position, so it's like so irrelevant.
It was so irrelevant you forgot about it. All right.
Yeah,
What was the vehicle you used for that?
January calls.
And what though? K-Web?
FXI.
I just bought Banco Colombia.
Great.
Right.
Dude, now we're doing a hot corner.
I'm sure they're not doing anything shady at all.
Nice yield. Hot corner.
Do it.
So hot right now.
Big day for the CFOs. Love it when I got a bunch of CFOs on my list. There's nobody I would rather see buying stock, at least from the Form 4 filers. Nobody I would rather see on here than CFOs. We got 3 of them today. Let's go right on down the list. Keurig Dr. Pepper, CEO and CFO buy. Not a piker purchase, Mr. JC. 7.5 million, not so bad. Jazz Pharmaceuticals, this one's just been a range-bound mess forever, but 1.4 million from the CFO. And then moving on down the list, chemicals. Agricultural Inputs is FMC Corp. They do like fertilizer stuff. 127,000, another CFO purchase.
These chemicals, if you look at the chemicals index and you look at the materials index, they look exactly the same. Just one hot mess.
Terrible. Yeah.
Not terrible, just sideways. You're saying terrible compared to other things. So yes. But on an absolute basis, not terrible, just sideways.
Can we look at these charts? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
That's a lot of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, so this is Jazz. Really nothing to see here, right? 10 years of nothingness. No, not this one. Do we have the Keurig Dr. Pepper chart?
I think we do.
And the FMC?
Oh.
There's
There's
at
FMC.
Fairfield, we used to live next to like the granddaughter of the Snapple people or like the ex-wife or something like that. She was pretty milfy and she lived next door to a house of 10 college guys. She was always out there hanging out. We lived right on the beach. She was very interested in what was going on at our house. Nothing ever happened. But, in our head it did.
Great story.
Nothing ever happened.
FMC,
Apple
a little
lady.
scoop and score of these prior cycle lows. Those are key bottoms, 20 where the 2 arrows are drawn. 2018 low. That's the pandemic low.
FMC is what?
Fertilizer.
FMC is fertilizer?
Oh, I thought it was a bank.
I was going to say FMC sounds like it would be a financial.
Sounds like a bank to me.
It should be a financial. No, this is a fertilizer. Here, look, I got a good one.
Like nitrogen things. Jackson does look interesting, Jonathan. That's why we brought it along. That's the best looking one from today's list. Financials are so good. Ask yourself, do I own enough financials? Answer is probably no.
I definitely don't own enough financials. I might not be short enough financials is really my biggest problem.
Okay.
Why don't you throw up slide 2 here to just reiterate what's happening in materials and chemicals? When you think of materials, a lot of people, in my opinion, in my experience, think mining stocks. They think, metal stocks. It's really more of a chemical story, right,
Yes.
Strazza?
It 100% is.
I mean, this chart, like, I know you didn't like it when I put Robinhood over Coinbase. I know you didn't like that, but this one's okay. I can do it this time.
You're really on like an overlay thing this morning, and I don't hate it.
Well, you don't hate this one because you
Well,
agree with this one.
When it looks like this, I mean,
The Robinhood Coinbase. You guys want to run it back one more time there?
That's bullshit. Look at the relative trend.
Just saying.
No, I'm not buying that. But here's the thing: within materials, I think there are going to be some nice opportunities. Maybe they're not in chemicals at first, but we've been talking about it, whether it's Nucor, Steel Dynamics, or Reliance Steel. In the metals and mining space, you are starting to see some nice chart pattern breakouts. No, we're long Nucor.
Yeah, Nucor, sure.
Not really working so great.
No, I need this. Yeah, but we own We own the Januaries. We got so much time in Nucor. That's
January?
the reason I
Oh,
like that.
I think I'm in June. We did January's? I don't know.
Sounds like a personal problem.
No,
I'm just not in a rush.
yeah.
I'm in a rush. I'm in a rush to short more Apple. I'm not in a rush to be buying stocks.
Listen, you're not in a rush. Maybe you'll catch the next bull market then. Just let this one end and wait for the next cycle.
Let's remember who you're talking to here.
Mhm.
I remember I was so bullish for so long that I convinced people who are new here that I was a perma bull. Remember, you see, people all of a sudden JC shorting stocks, people's heads are exploding. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? I got people. I'm getting text messages from Dubai being like, yo, JC, you got people all shook up over here. I'm getting messages from financial advisors being like, JC, my clients are asking me why you're shorting stocks, and now I have to answer them. Like,
you're scaring people. I'm
scaring people.
I feel like I don't even know you anymore.
Oh, well, why don't you come hang out? We'll we'll go to Hotel Bethlehem. Maybe go play around. I'll show you how to play golf.
I thought the key lime pies would do it. I guess I got to do more.
The key lime pies were so good, bro. So I was shorting stocks. Strazza's like, what do I have to do for you to stop doing this? He's like, if I send you a key lime pie, will you stop shorting stocks? I was like, if you send me 2, I'll think about it. So
He's still shorting stocks, the bastard.
Well, I'm only shorting stocks that keep going down, to be fair. I'm a trend follower.
So what do you think? I sold some Bitcoin, bought some TradFi.
You should be shorting Lululemon.
That's not.
Seriously, yoga pants in this Biden administration? Come on.
Okay.
Oh God. Listen, athleisure though, some good stuff. Good stuff coming out of athleisure. Trendy stuff.
Man, cherry pies from Michigan or key lime.
Dude, that cherry pie. Well, let's wait for Mary to come on because I got some things to say about this cherry pie. It's gone.
Bring her on right now.
There's 2 of us in my house. The cherry pie's gone.
Bring her on. Bring her on. I have 1 frozen cherry pie, 1 frozen.
I don't know what you did to the Samaki in the chat. Steve, you so fucking negative, dude, to JC. We're just having a good time, man. Everybody's okay.
We're all
friends.
Just a whole bunch of ball busters. We like to have a good time around here. Mary, are you like racist towards key lime pies because of your cherry situation locally?
If you would follow the chat, I said the key lime pie that Steve sent was amazing. It was so fantastic. And so, of course,
is it better than the cherry pies? Is it better than?
Well, no, of course not. But it was pretty top notch. Sorry, I gotta stay true to my Michigan cherry.
The cherry pie was such a nice change of pace for us.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you a quick cherry pie story?
Please.
Good one. So Mary sends me cherry pies. This was way back in the day. This is early on.
Right after I was hired, yeah.
Yeah, early on in our friendship, you send me a cherry pie. So I'm serving cherry pies for dessert. I got my in-laws over, and I put a slice in the microwave to heat it up, with some ice cream next to it, just being a good host to my in-laws. So I hand it over to my father-in-law, and he didn't touch the pie before he put a giant scoop in his mouth. And he is one to put giant scoops in his mouth of steaming hot cherries from the pie.
Oh my God.
He gets up screaming, and his kids and family in tears laughing. And to this day, it is still an ongoing joke, and they still cry about it laughing to this day because my father-in-law burned the crap out of his mouth because of the cherry pie that you sent.
So he'll probably never eat cherry pie again.
He's traumatized from this.
More for you then. So it's all good.
I didn't put it in the oven at first because I didn't even read the instructions or anything. I just ripped it out of the box and started eating it cold.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, room temperature is fine.
But then we put it in the oven, and this thing is just it's a lot. It's just like
it's
a party.
Fantastic.
It's really
Michiganders, do not mess around. Much love to the Michiganders. Shout out Michigan. Shout out Michigan.
Thank you.
One hole. Where did Strazza buy the key lime pie? That was actually from Kermit's Key West, Key Lime Pie. It's probably one of the bigger, more popular key lime pie places down here. But we just found one that we think is better, but they don't ship from French bakery, Croissants de France. Rose just had such a good time, like with the pie gifting stuff. She's giving pies to everybody now. Like we got a new neighbor, like they get a pie, like you get a pie, everybody gets a pie. All of our friends are getting pies. So
It's a great gift.
Yeah.
Mary and I own a gold penny stock. We're not going to talk about the name. This is not the place for it. But
Yeah, I'm back in.
It was up 17% yesterday. That
I
gold penny
know.
stocks. I know.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to talk gold because you guys had really something. The interesting stuff that you were saying about the gold and the ETFs, and early on in the cycle, and now the BTC and the ETFs. That was very interesting stuff that I didn't realize that you were talking about right at the top of the show.
I used to be a gold bug, Mary, back in the day.
I know. But yeah, I mean, gold, I know Strazza's shaking his head. No, we're not going here. But I mean, gold, we're not, I just haven't heard much about gold, and it's pushing all-time highs and, kept breaking out of that cup and handle that we've all been watching. Right. And so it's got my attention, and it's just kind of one of the areas that I'd kind of forgotten about for a little while. And all of a sudden it was doing what it's been doing. So yeah, I'm back in our little fun.
What I'm looking for, Mary, I'm looking for silver to start outperforming gold.
Same.
Haven't seen that. Looking for the mining stocks to start outperforming gold. Haven't seen that. So I think that's next.
Yep, I hope so. So I've also been fishing around in some other areas. So, usually when I come on the show, you guys, I know I bring the junky stuff. I love that you were talking about Hood. It just warms my heart. But I've been fishing around in the financials. Sorry, JC, but Strazza's been, pounding the table about financials. So funny story. I was doing an onboarding call with one of our premium members, showing them around, where to find things. And I pulled up Rangefinder. And so, kind of showing them how to search through financials, or maybe we want to look at energy. And so as we're doing this call, we're doing it on Zoom, and I came across a couple of charts, and we both went, oh, that actually looks really nice. And so one of the charts I brought along today is ICE. And this is a financial. It comes from our Hall of Famers scan. So our, large US large cap scan that we run. What is that, every 2 weeks, Steve? Remind me. Yeah. So, I mean, nice 2-year base on this one. We're right at that level, per JC's remarks of how we're running into overhead supply with XLF. So I'm watching this one. I have not gotten in yet, but I'm watching this one with serious interest. And then the other one is Valero, VLO, and from our energy scan and Commodities Weekly. I think Ian has talked about this a couple of times. I think JC, you mentioned this on the conference call. And again, nice base, nice consolidation, even an ascending triangle there. If we get above, what is that, 145? Looking for some resolution to the upside on that one. Also not involved in this one yet, but these are kind of areas that I have not been paying close attention to. So I'm kind of trying to broaden my horizon, and these are nice charts. If we get the upside resolution, I'm going to get involved.
Yeah, I think Valero ends up looking just like Marathon Petroleum Corp.
I like, I like, first of all, I'm always fascinated by what Mary is focused on, because Mary consumes more of our research than anybody on the planet. So what me and Strazza might find interesting is very different than what Mary might find interesting. I love the fact that you are, busting the myth of, that you hear, oh, buy low, sell high. Like, no, that's not how markets work. Mary's coming in here looking to buy high, sell higher. Love that. I also love the fact that you're aware of that overhead supply. You're not just like ignoring it, pretending it's not there. So mad respect there on the ICE. And when you call ICE a financial, yes, it's a financial, but it's like a financial, right, Strazza? Like, it's like
it's an exchange. Why is it not a financial?
No, it is. But it's like one of those. It's like a special financial.
It's growthy.
It's not a bank.
Yeah. I like it. And you know what looks just like it, which is kind of the same thing, JC? Like, not quite a financial. TradeWeb Markets, right. TW.
Well, look at CBOE has been a huge winner for us. Like, those are financials, capital markets, they call them, right?
These
certainly not regional banks that continue to look absolutely terrible.
These are capital markets tech, right? TradeWeb, this is like a digital bond brokerage.
Like data. It's data. It's data.
We've always said that. It's like the tech of financials, right?
Even the NASDAQ is, right? Like any of these like new age exchanges, they're very much technology forward.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. You know, we used to say
They're the ones that have done the best.
well, you know, it could be a strategy for a long-term investor. You want to find the tech in every sector. Like there are tech stocks hidden in every single sector, even energy, even materials. And if you can search out and find those names, they tend to be, in many cases, the secular leaders are the strongest ones over the long term. No.
I mean, I think there's a time and a place for everything. You know. Yeah.
Great sound effect.
I mean, I'm with you. I think it's important to be aware of those things. I don't necessarily think that for long-term investors, it's more special than for other people. I think there's a time and a place.
I'm into the techie stuff.
I know. We
Same.
know.
Yeah, and so your
Your recency bias, by the way, between the two of you, your recency bias is not oozing out of you at all. Don't worry.
I've always been this way, and you know that.
Because your entire career has been a secular bull market for tech. You see, you were not around the decade prior to that when gold was outperforming everything, which is why you shut your ears like earmuffs every time I mention gold.
Well, I can only make money off of today's leaders, right? Not the leaders of your generation.
All right. I guess we'll see what happens.
And I recognize my junkie status.
Nice comeback.
I like the things with the higher juice that move faster. And so looking into the financials and the energy is a bit tough for me. But at the same time, it's an area that I have neglected. You guys have been talking about it. And yeah, it's not as sexy as some of the other stuff. I mean, I'm in the Palantir right now watching this as it's going. And, that's kind of more like my speed. And that's kind of where I like to live. But I want to also try and be diversified and ready for rotation if it comes into financials and energy and commodities for that matter.
So, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. I need more cyclicals, more value. A lot of these economy stocks are working, have been working. I'm not industrials heavy. We've been writing about industrials, talking all about it. I look at my account. I don't own enough industrials. I want to get into more of these pro-cyclical areas. And I think you continue to see more and more kind of catch a bid and start working with like the financials. We're talking about materials, maybe starting something. JC, you got me thinking about my accounts and my allocations and exposure to different things. And I tend to do this every 3 months. I do it at the end of November, at the end of February, every 3 months throughout the year. I'll go in and I will export all my accounts to Excel, and I'll just have a blast on a Saturday morning.
Nerd alert.
Something that everyone should do, though, real talk. So I was doing that over the weekend, and you know what I found? Now, I'm not looking at my long-term IRAs. I'm looking at my short-term trading accounts. I own twice the amount of crypto assets, cryptocurrencies specifically. So this isn't even counting like my Coinbase, than I do of equities. Irresponsible?
Oh, wow.
Double.
That, and you didn't even know.
Well, it's a good thing that you find it to be fun looking at spreadsheets on a Saturday morning. It's a good thing. That's your kind of fun, right?
Well, if you have Solana going up 4x and all these crazy things moving the way they do, then you can get oversized.
That's right.
Right, which is why you have to do this analysis. So it wasn't intentional.
Maybe you want to be oversized.
I think I don't have a problem with it. So I don't know if that. I don't know. Am I crazy?
No, you have no kids. You have no responsibilities. Go ham.
It was intentional to have more crypto. Maybe not this much more, but there's nothing I look at right now, and I really want to sell quite yet. So
I have a crypto. Recess. It's not as pretty as Mary's recess, but a crypto recess. Why don't you hit that bumper?
I got a big recess too. We got a lot going on.
I was just looking back at some old charts, looking through some old things, and I happened to stumble upon a couple of good ones. Why don't you flip through these, Spencer? Old school. These are Bitcoin back in early 17. We started covering Bitcoin on April the 5th of 2016, apparently. I knew
oh my God.
It was in 2016. I didn't realize it was April the 5th. In fact, that's when we officially started covering Bitcoin. We included it. This was before Strazza's time. I just included Bitcoin in the currency work that we were.
Yes.
Like it was like dollar, euro, yen, Bitcoin. You know, that's just like I was like, oh, okay, I'll just throw that one in there. Here, flip through a couple of them.
Hey, where'd you find this? Like in an old deck or
In
something?
an old file. Why don't you go? Keep going. Here's Bitcoin. Look at that base.
Oh my God.
2014
Wow.
Bitcoin gold ratio.
Wow.
Go back. Look at the prices.
Go back.
What was the price?
200,
200?
1,000.
$1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. It's only up 16,000% since then. No big deal.
Oh man.
Look at what about the book? Look at the Bitcoin gold ratio. People think that I'm just like cherry picking denominators. I've been doing this shit forever. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, come on. A Bitcoin gold ratio, you know, right? From back in 2014, 15. Come on, right? Look at that base though, right?
Nice
For the
base.
record, I've been looking at big bases for many, many years. This isn't like a new thing, right? As you can see here. These charts don't look that dissimilar to my current ones. Why don't you keep going? This is a good one. This is my first Bitcoin. It was actually given to me, apparently, on April the 12th of 2014. I was sent 8.1725 milli Bitcoins, which is $3.50 worth of Bitcoin. This is 10 years ago, dude. How funny is that? My first Bitcoin.
Didn't you forget about this for like years, and then you had
I did. I forgot about it. I had like $250 in my wallet, and I forgot about it for a few years, and then I was like, I have a wallet somewhere with a bunch of Bitcoin, and I won't get into the specifics, but let's just say it was a lot higher. I was not disappointed when I recovered that wallet.
I want to say just what a great exercise it is for us to go back and look through old chart decks. We have them all in the cloud, kind of hanging out. And every now and then I'll pull up an old one to try and use it for something new that we're doing. And just flipping through some of these charts that we put out years ago is a blast. And it's a good learning exercise too.
I thought that was a fun find there. Not as pretty as what Mary's going to show, which I did see this on Twitter. Mary, this is beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, so Michigan in the fall and spring especially, we get some fantastic sunsets. This is from a few nights ago, but cloudy sunsets are always the best in my opinion, just because you get a lot more saturation of color and light dancing off the reflection of the clouds. And so this is Lake Michigan where I live, and it's just a beautiful time of year. Things are even starting to bloom right now, which is a little early, but yeah, it was a beautiful sunset. So thought I'd share it with everyone.
Very nice.
Lovely.
Very nice. My recess, we ran out of time on Monday, and I forgot yesterday, but Fonz, can you bring up slide 87, please? Speaking of old charts, not an old chart, but a long-term chart. Happy birthday to the S&P 500 index, March 4th, 1957. It was introduced in its current form. It closed the first day at $44.06 is what it closed at.
It's had a great run. It's been a great run.
Or not dollars, but 44. You get what I'm saying. 44 is where it was, and
it's gone up a lot. We get it.
That's my point. It's gone up a lot. That's what I'm trying to say here. So, happy birthday, S&P 500. And I'll just save the rest of the recess for tomorrow because we're at 10 o'clock here. What I do want to say though, to everyone that's watching on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Twitter, we got a big group there today. If you head on over to our YouTube channel today, I guess at 1 o'clock Eastern time, every Wednesday, Strazza does a video where he goes over all the stocks that had insider buying, and he looks at the best ones. That's called the Hot Corner. That's at 1. And then at 2 o'clock today, we're doing a special crypto event. We did one last week. We're doing another one today. It's right there on the channel. 2 o'clock, we're going to run through how we're approaching crypto, what JC is doing, how we're making money, how you can too. It's going to be fun. So
I wouldn't miss that.
Check it out. That's
Crypto
the rundown for the day. And that is all I have to say about that. So, that being said, thanks to Brian Lund. Thanks to all of you in the chat. If you're watching us on YouTube, do me a quick favor. Just hit the like button. It sounds stupid to say it when I say it every day, but it does help us in the eyes of YouTube and their mysterious, all-powerful algorithm. Thanks to everyone for watching. Go make some money, and we'll see you later.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go